Hello, I want to take you guys and show you my fall garden, what's growing, what's been harvested, and some stuff growing in the greenhouse. So we're going to take the tour through the whole thing. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is the fall garden. Still been gleaning a lot of produce from the garden still. There's some crops that failed to produce at all this year. It's just because I think it has to do with that solar minimum that we're going through right now, because everybody I'm talking to is having crop failures, and some items are growing very well. So let me we'll start back here with the corn. It was a fail. So I did not get not one corn cob off of any of this. And of course, this crop is really small. Next year I'm going to do a little bit better at growing a bigger crop. I mean a bigger crop, because I've got that cedar I purchased from a treasure hunting series, and then I've got the tractor. So let me show you where we're going to be planting the corn next year. So this is the area where I'm going to be planting my corn crop. I've got to figure out what kind of cover crop I want to lay in here for that grows through the fall and winter, so I can add nutrients to the ground. Of course, I've got my big compost pile right there, but that is going in to the garden because I'm going to be creating new garden beds this fall. So my dreams of a big corn crop for next year is I'll spend some time planning and strategizing. I have to go buy some seed though for that cover crop. This is my green beans. Last year I was really successful at growing green beans. This year I've got a lot of blooms. This is October. We got cold air coming in, and look at this. I got one little teeny tiny itty bitty, well, a couple of them, green beans. So I'm not going to get a huge crop. I'm just going to let them grow as much as they can. Well, here's one. There we go. Green beans. Maybe if I look hard, I'll find at least a small jar full of green beans I can can up. And my tomatoes. Lots of green tomatoes. I picked them all. There's a few left, but I took a lot of green tomatoes and made pickled green tomatoes. And then some of them were starting to turn color. I'll show them to you. They're in the greenhouse ripening. I'll go ahead and can those later. But I went to do a bunch of green tomato salsa, and a jar I opened up that had been sitting on the shelf for quite a while. Didn't notice it. Dumped the jalapenos in there, which was the last product to dump in there. And on the inside of the lid, before I threw it away, was covered in mold. So I had to dump the whole thing. I spent hours and about $30 in product to get that salsa the way I wanted it. And it was a great big giant pot full. In fact, that big stock pot that I have. This is my potato. I had some seed potato. I planted them there, and it really took off. I'm just waiting for it to die back, and then we'll process it from there. These others right here, these are zucchini. They finally came in and started producing. We're getting into cold weather though, so I want to transplant the smaller one, take it into the greenhouse and try to extend the growing season for this. This other one down the end is probably too large to transplant, but I'll just try it. But I'm getting zucchini off that other one. And I got broccoli over here that I've got to transplant into the kale bed once I get the kale removed from there. But this I already planted in, I planted the cabbage in here. So once the cabbage starts sprouting and growing, all this, all the squash would die off from the cold. And then I've got my cucumbers that I'm still harvesting cucumbers, making lots of pickles. Here's a cuke right here. That one snuck in on me. Maybe I can harvest the seed from this one and use it for my seed crop for next year. So in the cucumber bed, I went ahead and planted beans. Yeah, that I can grow during the fall, winter. I got beans down there germinating right now. So when the cold weather hits, these are going to wither and die off. And then I have a succession crop already in the ground, ready to come in. Here's some other beans I planted later. Something got to the roots of these. I think I got a mole in there that got to the roots of these and killed these off. But yeah, these are a month younger than the other ones. And I already have this bed planted with carrots. And this Swiss chard, we'll just keep cutting from it. And I got to treat it. We got bugs getting to it. But I can let this grow through the winter. This is a winter hardy crop. My carrots, I started in the greenhouse. I'm going to go ahead and harvest those and see what comes of them. And this is my kale. I'm pulling and feeding them to the goats. I'm packing in new nutrients, new soil in here, and topping it off, and then we'll be planting some other crop in here. Haven't decided exactly what I'm planting in here yet. Probably when I thin out the Brussels sprouts and the broccoli, that will go in here. But I did plant peas over here, and then there is a Swiss chard down there. I may end up just transplanting this Swiss chard into a big pot and put it in the greenhouse, because I had an excellent growth of Swiss chard in the greenhouse a couple years ago. And that sucker grew. 3 years we were harvesting for it, 3 years straight from that. There's a couple more plants I put in there, but let's show you the rest of the garden. First, down here I've got more cucumbers, and then I have beans growing in the cucumber bed. They'll be germinating and growing up, like I said, once the cold snap hits and withers these back. So I've got different varieties of lettuce growing in this entire bed, and spinach. So this is all going to be salad crop. This was my summer lettuce that bolted. We're going to go ahead and harvest what we can there, get it into the salad pot, and then pull these up and let the other stuff grow. Over here I have some flowers, comfrey. This bed is all filled in with radish. Well, this bed I have carrots. Here I have beets. And here I have turnips and more turnips here. And those are more crops that are succession crops. My grapes, I harvested a real bountiful harvest of the grapes this year. Really bountiful. I got 10 gallons, 2 5-gallon buckets of grapes. Here's some, look at that, isn't that beautiful? So I'll be turning the grapes into wine. Yes, it's time. Planted some more strawberries in there. Got strawberries for $1.50 for 10. And then over there you can see some canes that are going up. I'm letting them grow and I'm going to be transplanting them. And those are my raspberries. Excuse me, I'm going to get some of these cucumbers out before they get too big. Perfect size for pickles. Now with the zucchini, I wanted to get a lot of zucchini and make some zoodles, because my wife and I gave up grains. Yeah, the grains just weren't being too healthy for us, so we decided to give those up. And let's go back here and get some of those beans. This one's really healthy. Not too many beans on here. There's a lot of blooms, but not too many beans. I wonder if I can get away with just putting a tent over this and letting this continue to grow and bloom. Get my lunch. This is what I just harvested. Not bad. Okay, now I'm really happy with what's going on in the greenhouse. Come on in and I'll share with you guys what's happening. Now, I purchased a bunch of these little envelopes from Amazon. These are to store seeds in. And down here, I saved the seed from a red bell pepper, and green bell peppers. I'm drawing them out right now, and then I'll put them in the seed packets and store them in a cool place, in a cool, dry place, dark. But look at my tomatoes. These are the ones I put in here that were still green, but had the little bit of ripening going on. But now, I'm gonna make some salsa out of these tomatoes. Here's one that still hasn't ripened yet, so we're still working with it. And of course, this is a bathtub raised up, and I turned this into my worm bin, vermiculture, and makes a nice handy workstation for my plants too. So let me show you what else we got going in here. This was a volunteer tomato. I just pulled it up and stuck it in here. I don't know what variety it is, but it's going in the greenhouse. And tomato plants, you could do starts. You can graft a start, and you can root it and grow them out in the greenhouse, and you can replant them in your garden next year. The same way with pepper plants. Look at my peppers. I brought my pepper plants indoors. They are wonderful. Look at this one, loaded with peppers. So I'll be using those in my salsa. I've planted. I'm using this soil mix for in the greenhouse. And here I started my kale. I just staple that to the front of it so I can see, and there's holes in the bottoms of these tubs. And then, yeah, just kale. I just planted these the other day, so they haven't sprouted yet. This is a variety of lettuce. This is a variety of lettuce. And I'm not even sure if those are going to sprout. I'm not sure if those seeds are viable. We'll see. But I've got spinach, and I got spinach coming up already. Spinach. We're going to have a nice winter salad crop. Got lettuce coming up in here. More lettuce. I'm just growing out the leftover seeds that I have. More lettuce. I like this lettuce. This is pretty good. And then you got this blend of lettuce. Look how well that's coming up. These are a week old. This is just from a week. Look at this one. Look at the gourmet blend, salad blend. Look at that. Yum. Here's another variety of lettuce. Now, none of those have sprouted yet. I'm disappointed in this variety, and these are brand new seeds. Here's mesclun. They've sprouted. I started some marigolds in here to grow them in the greenhouse this winter. Add a little bit of color if they grow. And of course, look, all this is radish. All this. Of course, radish is really easy to grow, and it's really quick to germinate. Now I still have more room on the bottoms because I got a ton of buckets left to go, so I can still grow taller plants along the bottoms, like that. Some of those plants I want to transplant in here, like the one squash. I want to replant that and grow it out in here and give it plenty of room to grow. So I don't have to use everything, every space. But I want to grow enough food, especially salads, because my diet and my wife's diet primarily is salads, and that's how we're maintaining our health and our weight, because we were eating wrong. We got really unhealthy and got really obese. So it looks like I got at least another jar of pickles here. I'll go ahead and soak those in a brine overnight and then mix up some pickles tomorrow. Yep, and then hopefully in the process I can step out here with my weapon and harvest a buck. I get a large herd of deer that comes through here, and there is a harvestable buck I can hopefully harvest from my back porch. Hopefully that way I can just lift it up with a tractor. There's a deer right there, right up my well. And there's another one. I don't see antlers on those though, and I only have a buck tag. I didn't get an antlerless tag this year. But at least I know they're coming through. Well, that's it on my succession gardening and my growing in through the fall and winter. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. We're a frugal homestead tucked high in the Cascade Ranges of the Pacific Northwest. Stay tuned to more videos. You can do that by subscribing and clicking that bell icon. I harvested my grapes. I'm turning them into wine. Stay tuned for that episode. It probably won't be produced for about a year because it takes a year to produce something like that. Anyway, stay tuned for that. Be safe. Always be kind. We'll see you guys on my next adventure. Bye-bye now.